Yeah, dear Director of the CCRS, dear State Councillor Yarayama, dear participants of this forum. Thank you for giving me the honor of saying a few words to you at the start of your high-profile conference. I speak to you as a member of the Swiss Parliament, but also as a resident of Baden. Baden is the small town where you will be meeting tomorrow to debate resilience and sustainability, investment and inclusive technological change worldwide. You have invited personalities from the worlds of business and research who will then travel to the World Economic Forum in Davos. And we are, of course, delighted to have you here in Baden. With your presence in Baden, you as the initiators of the SET Forum on Sustainability and Innovation also want to, and I quote, establish a practical connection and show an international community how an economic region like Baden repeatedly succeeds in responding economically, innovatively to new local and global challenges, thereby strengthening the resilience, attractiveness and sustainability of the business location. This is a citation. In this context, you will get an idea of Baden 4.0, an initiative that I also support to be inspired by selected highly innovative companies in the region. You will certainly receive detailed information about this initiative, but just briefly, it is a networking initiative in which business, research, development, and education develop additional innovative strengths in cooperation with the public sector. The initiative was launched in August 2023 with over 30 partners from the already mentioned sectors. This initiative, Baden 4.0, has a lot to do with the character of the city of Baden. Baden is a small town with about 24,000 inhabitants, but with clear international economic networks and international connection, and is one of the ranged as the top 7 out of 110 economic regions in Switzerland. Baden is home to 3,100 companies, including many international firms, with a very forward-looking approach, particularly in the high-tech sector. This has a lot to do with the openness without which this small town could not have developed into such a dynamic industrial location. Openness towards immigrants in particular, such as the legendary engineers Charles Brown and Walter Boveri, who founded the global corporation BBC. Baden is therefore well aware of the impact that specialists from abroad have, who we integrate into the Swiss economy from especially the European Union. We recognize the value of these specialists. Therefore, Baden has a clearly supportive stance on the bilateral approach to the European Union, as does my canton Aargau, who has a longer border to the European Union than to any other cantons around. Building resilience in the age of uncertainty, your topic could not be more topical. At the moment, however, certainties that seemed set in stone appear to be becoming increasingly fragile. We are witnessing attacks on international law, such as Russia's invasion of an independent country, Ukraine, and thus as war in Europe. We are witnessing cyber attacks on our Western states, and we are witnessing the vulnerability of democracies and our rule-based order. We are witnessing attacks on our internal and external security and the rule of law. And we are witnessing how the economic and political integration that has held Western Europe together since the Second World War is losing its significance because people take the function of the economy without integration and openness for granted. So I'm coming back to the small town of Baden, a networked business location and a place with a vibrant democracy, which also supports the economy. Baden and Ennet Baden overwhelmingly supported the vote to join the European Economic Area at the time, in the 90s. As you know, it was clearly rejected throughout Switzerland, which led to economic stagnation in the 90s. One of the central roles in the referendum campaign in the 90s on the European Economic Area was played by the directors of large companies and entrepreneurs in Baden, and their awareness that direct democracy also thrives on their participation. The directors and CEOs of the ABB, the successor company to BBC, were seen standing on boxes in the streets of Baden, speakers just like in a Hyde Park corner. They convinced the population of the importance of openness and networking, innovation and research for the prosperity of all. I am convinced that this entrepreneurial spirit, coupled with proximity to citizens and the desire to connect the world and the clear insight that those who trade with each other build resilience in times of uncertainty. It is your theme. The economy needs security and legal certainty, while democracy needs the constructiveness of education, research, innovation, and the active and agile participation of the economy and society. In this agile and open spirit, I wish you an inspiring stay in the small town of Baden, which is connected to the global economy community where high-performance infrastructure and urban environment, and particularly short distances, create a working space that is unique in Switzerland. And after work and after studying, you can also nurture your soul in warm and hot springs. The ancient Romans already knew this, and apparently the Asian Romans, they knew a lot. I thank you for having some words to you.